The NSE All-Share Index opened the fourth quarter on a positive note, rising about 0.9%, lifted by large-cap consumer goods and brewery stocks. Turnover was also higher at 4.9 billion naira, lifted by a large trade in Zenith Bank shares. And Folusho Adigun, Senior Associate at Planet Capital, joins me now to talk us through the markets. Folusho, thank you for joining us. And like I mentioned, it's a pretty good start to the fourth quarter.
It is.
A lot of people suggesting that it's not likely to last. What's your take?
Well, it's too early to call, but if you look at the last couple of years, the last quarter has actually done very well. So we actually hope that it's going to do very well this quarter.
All right, and of course, perhaps a catalyst for that move is this new trading platform that has been introduced to the NSE. Of course, I spoke to the executive director of the stock exchange earlier, and he talked us through what this meant for the stock exchange strategy. But your thoughts about how this is likely to change things in the market? Okay,
let's look at why they've introduced it. One of the things it's going to bring to the market is transparency, basically. Openness as well. People will have more access, international investors. People can see on their screens, they can see live trades, and they can actually key in their trades without actually going through their broker. So I think that will actually drive volume, and we think that's beginning to drive volume as well.
In fact, when we look at the volumes for today, just under 5 billion naira worth of trade, and that's pretty high given where the market has been over the last few sessions. Do you think the exchange has anything to do with that? Like I noted earlier, there was a major trade in Zenith Bank shares, and that lifted the broader market, total market data. But at the same time, you have to admit that just about 4 billion naira worth of trade, excluding that Zenith Bank trade. So it's pretty strong as well.
It is, but that's not just today. If you look at Monday as well, it closed positive. And you begin to look at the stocks that actually moved the market today and on Monday, look at Guinness as well. It's not just about Zenith. Look at Guinness, you look at UACN. So the stocks with fundamentals, we think that the foreign investors are beginning to take position as well, because this is the last quarter of the year, and they want to quickly key in their trades.
All right, let's talk a bit about the stocks you like in this context. Fourth quarter has started now. We're going to see earnings from banks maybe in another few weeks. Your thoughts about the stocks that are looking attractive to you right now?
Access Bank is looking very attractive right now. UBA is looking attractive. Apart from those two big banks, you look at Sterling Bank as well. So those three banks, we think they'll do very well in the last quarter.
So did I get the impression that you are very bullish on the banks in the fourth quarter? They haven't done well in the third quarter.
They haven't done well.
They were negative for the third quarter.
True.
So your thoughts about that sector as a whole going forward?
Okay, you will have to recall that the CRR at 50% impacted on the banks in the third quarter, but we also think that they will have actually devised other strategies moving forward. So we don't think that it will impact negatively on them in the fourth quarter of the year. So I think they're going to do very well in the fourth quarter.
So outside banks, though, is there anything out there that you like?
Dangote Sugar is doing very well. This year it's done over 100% year to date. So we think it's going to do very well. Dangote Sugar, Dangote Cement as well is doing very well.
All right. So
okay,
go ahead. Any other stocks in the spotlight for you?
Well, Monday, even last week, we began to see penny stocks like IPWA. Initially, we saw George Berry, but it's beginning to go down.
Well, a lot of people say that would be a risky place to go. Those are small caps, not very liquid stocks. But then again, if you look at the data year to date, some of those companies are the best performers.
True.
A lot of people argue that you couldn't get those stocks even if you tried.
Yes, because at some point you see some of them, they'll be on offer. So it's a tough call for them right now.
Okay. What about the fixed income market? The impact of that for you on equities, and how are particularly institutional investors likely to play this fourth quarter in your view? Because we've seen particularly the pension fund managers, they seem to be very risk averse, and anytime yields begin to go high, and of course, given the context of where the economy is, where the naira is, and of course we're going into an election year, a lot of them will be risk averse and perhaps sit on fixed income securities. How do you see institutional investors behaving in this fourth quarter?
Well, especially with the introduction of the new exchange trading platform, we believe that they will still want to come into the equities market. So we don't actually think the fixed income, that will impact negatively in the equities market. So
retail investors, how do you see them behaving? A lot of people suggest that one of the the investor groups that this new trading platform is going to target is the retail investors, and hopefully more of them will come back to the market. Are you bullish? Do you think this is likely to happen?
That will happen in the long run, but it's not going to happen in this fourth quarter. Because what you tend to see is that, especially with technology, even foreign investors, even though within our own market, foreign investors are likely to come in much more quicker than the retail investors. But at some point, possibly like next year, they should begin to come in.
All right, and market making in this market, it hasn't really kicked off the way a lot of people would have liked to see it, maybe short selling, etc. We haven't seen that come to the fore yet, and the reason for that is not far-fetched. We haven't seen AMCON come to the table and provide those securities for those that want to borrow. So in assessing how that has played out over the last 1 year, what are your thoughts?
Total market making. They've not done too badly though, but if you look at in terms of providing liquidity into the market, they haven't actually done too much. They also have problems they're trying to resolve, but we believe that going forward, they should begin to exert more influence in the market in terms of liquidity. All
right, Folusho, let's leave it there. Folusho Adigun, Senior Associate at Planet Capital.